Oregon's legislature has been in session for just over a week now, but some recent moves by Republican lawmakers have already upset some at the Capitol and beyond. One new lawmaker posted a homophobic blog post on his campaign website. Another said that only Christians are fit to hold public office, and another introduced a bill that would ban transgender girls from playing sports at school. Let's start with the first one, a blog post published by Representative Dwayne Junker from Grants Pass. Junker was appointed to fill the seat of Representative Lily Morgan after she resigned to take another job. He's also a city councilor in Grants Pass. His blog post, titled "No to Gay Pride Month," talks about how he was upset that the Grants Pass mayor read a proclamation in support of Pride Month this past summer. He wrote, "I stand on biblical truths and opposed to the transgender movement. It is shocking that any adult would endorse this child abuse." He goes on to say that transgender kids should not get gender-affirming health care or play on sports teams that align with their gender, to falsely claim that drag queens are pedophiles, and to equate LGBTQ people with pedophiles, a false homophobic claim that's been used for decades. We reached out to Representative Junker. He has not responded. Next, Republican Representative E. Werner Reschke, who represents Southern Deschutes and Eastern Klamath County. He appeared on a Facebook live stream last month and claimed that non-Christians should not serve in government.
You don't want a materialist. You don't want an atheist. You don't want a Muslim. You want somebody who understands what truth is and understands the nature of man, the nature of government, and the nature of God. Yeah. If you don't understand those things, you're going to get things wrong. And in Oregon, that's a classic example. We have a lot of people who are godless, unfortunately, leading the way, and it's the blind leading the blind.
We reached out to Representative Reschke. He also did not respond. Now let's go to one last thing, a bill introduced by Republican Representative Christine Goodwin, who represents the Canyonville area in Southern Oregon. House Bill 4054, she says, would ban, quote, biological males from competing in female sports. She wrote, "The modern left expects us to go along with the false reality that a man who thinks he's a woman has no biological advantage over women. Allowing boys to compete in physical sports with women is both dangerous and wrong, and the ideology behind it is fundamentally anti-woman." So far, the bill has not been scheduled for any hearing. There are 37 Republicans serving in the Oregon legislature this year, and these examples come from only 3 of them. So are they more extreme outliers, or is this a reflection of the Republican Party in Oregon, or maybe across the country? We took that question to political science professor Jim Moore at Pacific University.
It is not an outlier situation. What they are doing is they are specifically proposing bills that are on the books in other states that have been put on the books in the past few years, or floating ideas that are being actively talked about in other states. So in effect, it's the nationalization of these social conservative issues that's coming to Oregon, not anything that's popping up from Oregon per se.
Moore says that things like bills barring trans kids from sports are usually made-to-order bills that come up in state governments all around the country.
I would bet that if we looked at the proposals, they're exact copies of what's been in other states. There are groups, one pretty famous one that works with conservatives, that actually float out legislation. Here's legislation you can take to your state to put in the system word for word. And so it's identical laws in other states. So that's what I would bet is happening here.
But in a state like Oregon, anti-trans bills, for instance, are doomed to fail. So why even make this effort? Moore says it has to do with drumming up the Republican voters in Oregon, especially during an election year.
Things like this, because they're going to fail, you can use in the 2024 election to try to drive turnout. Remember, Donald Trump is going to lose in Oregon. There's just no question about that. But can there be a Republican turnout so the Republicans keep the congressional district number 5 with Lori Chavez de Reamer? They get enough votes that they can flip congressional district number 6, where Andre Salinas is going to face Mike Erickson. So there's a lot of movement here that will generate support if it lasts this long.
We reached out to the leader of Oregon's House Republicans, Representative Jeff Helfrich. He also did not respond. Let us know what you think of these moves by Oregon Republicans and whether they represent the party as a whole, or if you think they represent your views, whether they are your elected official or not. Email us at thestory@kgw.com or leave a voicemail 503-226-5090.